Today, I'll be showing you the first 20 things you need to do if you've just got the new AirPods Pro 3s. Now, these tips and tricks are going to help unlock hidden features, add functionality, improve the sound quality, and ultimately help your AirPods Pro 3s last longer. Believe me, I was shocked to see just how much these AirPods can do. So without further ado, let's get started. But first, I am giving away this brand new iPhone 17, and for a chance to win, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and subscribe to my main channel, Dion Schuddeboom, link in the description. Then comment your favorite feature of the new AirPods with your Instagram username, and follow me on Instagram at Dion Schuddeboom, where I'll announce the winner on the 31st of October. Alright, so to start, let's take a look at a setting that is going to help your AirPods Pro 3s last longer. After all, these things are not cheap. So this setting in particular will focus on the battery health, helping your battery health last longer, and also by extension, your AirPods. So to do this, we're going to jump into settings, and then in here, we're going to tap onto our AirPods. That should be on the top of the list, and then we're going to scroll down to where we find battery, which we will find right over here. And in here, you want to make sure that this first setting here, optimize charge limit, is turned on. Now, what does this do? Essentially, it's going to change how it charges your AirPods. It will change to your charging habits. So first, it's going to charge when you plug them in from 0 to roughly 80%, and then wait with the remaining 20% to closer to when you typically wake up and unplug your AirPods. This is going to help stagger the charge, so it won't charge as fast, and your AirPods won't be sitting at 100% for as long. Both of these things are going to have a dramatic impact on preserving the battery health of your AirPods, ultimately helping them last longer. So you definitely want to make sure to enable that first setting. Now, pro tip, I also recommend you turn on charging notifications. This will give you a notification on your iPhone when your AirPods are running low, so you know to charge them before the next time you run out of the door with empty AirPods. On the subject of charging, let me talk about the best way to charge your AirPods. Now, did you know there's actually 4 ways to charge your AirPods Pro 3? So first of all, you can charge it with a USB-C cable, which sadly is no longer included in the box, but you can use pretty much any USB-C cable, including the one that came with your iPhone. You can also charge them via a MagSafe charger. This is fantastic because they do have magnets inside. And thirdly, you can also use a regular Qi wireless charger. And then finally, you can also actually use an Apple Watch charger. So this is great. This means that when you're traveling, you just have to carry less chargers, as the AirPods will pretty much charge with any charger that you have. But the question is, which charger is best? Well, to preserve your battery health and also help your AirPods last longer, it is best to charge with a wired connection. So that means using the USB-C cable here on the bottom of your AirPods. And the reason for that is using a wired connection is going to produce less heat, and that there will help your battery last longer. By the way, it is also the fastest way to charge your AirPods. Oh, and fun fact, if say you are on the go and your AirPods run out of battery, what you can do is plug in a USB-C cable from your AirPods over to your iPhone, and then your iPhone battery will be used to charge the AirPods. So you basically never run out of battery and will always have music on the go. Okay, one more point on battery. Battery is just so important. I want to show you a really useful widget to add both to your home screen as well as your lock screen to always know exactly what the battery level is like, not just on your AirPods case, but also on the individual buds. So let me first show you the widget here on the home screen. We can add it here on the main home screen or even on this side screen here. And this is the widget right here. So let me show you how to add this. Let me quickly remove this here and let's add it new. So simply tap and hold, tap onto edit. Then we're going to add widget, and then we're going to scroll down to where we find batteries right here. And then you could choose any of these. So I prefer to have the slightly larger one, as it's going to give you more devices at a time. So we'll tap on add widget, tap on done. And as you can see, we get an overview first of our iPhone, including the buds as well as the buds case. Now in this case, I actually have 2 sets of AirPods connected. Normally speaking, you would have one for your left earbud and then one for your right as well. And now over on the lock screen, we can add a similar widget as well. So what you want to do is first unlock your phone on the lock screen. Then we're going to tap onto customize. And then here we have your widgets tab, so we can tap into that, and let's go ahead and make room here. We'll remove one, tap onto batteries, and then here we can add, let's say, the second widget here, and that there is going to give us an overview of your AirPods. Now you want to tap into that widget to make sure that it only shows the battery of your AirPods. So you want to change the source from automatic and then change it to your AirPods Pro 3. There they are. And as you can see, we will now see the battery level here of our AirPods Pro 3, in this case at 100%. But this here will give you a clear overview of the battery life conveniently on your lock screen as well as on your home screen. And now this next one may sound simple, but it is really important, and that is to choose the right set of ear tips for your AirPods. Now, by default, your AirPods will come with a medium-sized tip, but this year we have even more options included in the box, including a new double XS size, so super, super small. And I really encourage you to try out the different sizes to see which is most comfortable for you, as that there will have a huge impact on the noise quality, or rather the noise canceling, as well as the bass. So you want to make sure you have a nice and tight seal while still being comfortable in the ears. Personally, I like to use the S. I think that is the perfect fit, and is great now that I think Apple have also included an even smaller size. And then once you've chosen your tip for your AirPods, it is important to double check and make sure that you have a good seal. And there actually is a built-in function that I want to show you to test the seal that you have on your AirPods and make sure that you have a perfect fit. So for this, what you want to do is, first of all, make sure that both your AirPods are in your ears. Then we're going to jump into settings, then tap onto your AirPods. And then here we're going to scroll down to where we find fit and comfort. There it is. And here we can tap onto test acoustic seal. And what that's going to do is test the seal on both your AirPods. So you see I've got both in here. It's then going to press play here. It's going to play a sound, and there we go. So it's just completed the test, and as you can see, it's actually recommending a different ear tip for the left ear as opposed to the right ear. So in this case, I think I'm going to go with a slightly smaller size on the left, and that there will confirm that you have the right seal. Again, this is very important for the noise cancellation as well as the bass. So you really want to make sure to get this right. And once you found the perfect fit, let's now make the sound quality even better. And to do this, we're going to jump into settings, then once again tap onto your AirPods, and then we're going to scroll down to where we find personalized spatial audio. Here it is right there. We're going to tap into it. And here we're going to set up personalized spatial audio. And what it's going to do is it's going to use the Face ID sensor on your iPhone to take a scan of your ear. So let me show you how this works. So we're going to tap onto Start Capture. Hello, everyone. And what we can do then is look into the camera. And then I'm going to look first towards the left, and then move over to the right. And as you can see, it is highlighting and scanning my ear. So one more time. There we go. There it is. And as you can see, personalized spatial audio has now been activated. So it's taken a scan of my ears, and that's going to then slightly adjust the audio and how it delivers based on my ears to ultimately give you even better sound quality. Now this here, I found it to work really well. It makes a nice small adjustment to the sound. If however you don't like it, you can always tap onto stop using personalized audio, and that will then remove the feature. And now I want to talk about something really important, and that is your hearing health. Now, your hearing health is crucial, as if you're not careful and if you listen to your music too loud, you can permanently damage your ears. Now, Apple thankfully have included a really useful feature that is kind of hidden that I do want to show you, and that's going to give you a clear overview of what the volume is like that you're listening to, and at what point your volume level gets too loud. Now, this is something that we're going to add over onto our control center. So let me show you how to do this. What we're going to do is scroll down here from the top right on your control center. Then you want to tap anywhere till the icons, till we enter edit mode. And then from there, we're going to tap onto add a control. And then in here, we can go ahead and search for hearing. There it is. You see the little ear icon there. We'll tap into that. And as you can see, that has now been added. And check this out. As soon as I start to play music, watch the icon. There we go. We have these little dots appearing, and as you can see, there's that little yellow exclamation point to let us know the volume is too loud, at which point we can then turn it down a little bit. And as you can see, as I turn it up, it will let you know when it is too loud. You can probably hear the music now too. And then for more information, I could also tap into this and give me an even clearer overview, letting me know that, okay, I need to slightly turn it down to make sure the headphone levels here are okay, to protect your ears and make sure your hearing health stays good. And now, one of the coolest features specific to the new AirPods Pro 3s, the first AirPods to include a heart rate sensor. Yes, both AirPods will have a built-in infrared heart rate sensor, and this is great to be able to track your heart rate both during a workout as well as when you're wearing your AirPods in general. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to put in one or both of the AirPods, and then I'm going to go ahead and launch the fitness app on your iPhone. You can just search for fitness. That's the icon right there. And then if we tap onto workouts, you'll see here that in the top right, you want to make sure that your AirPods are connected. You can see in my case they are. And then let's go ahead and start a workout. So let's say let's do an outdoor walk here while we're in the studio. And as you can see, check this out. We get a live reading of our heart rate right within this app. This is really, really cool. You no longer need an Apple Watch to do this. So even without an Apple Watch, you can do this with your AirPods. Now, if you are wearing an Apple Watch, what it's actually going to use is it's going to use data both from the Apple Watch as well as your AirPods to give you an even more accurate reading right here within the the app. So this here I think is a really cool feature. No longer need an Apple Watch to track your heart rate. Now, if you want to see your heart data over time, you can also tap into the health application here, and then you want to tap onto heart rate, and that then will give you a much more clear overview here where you can look by hour, by day to see clearly on the chart what your heart readings are like. This is great to say, perhaps share with your doctor if you need to, or even just for yourself to see what kind of levels of heart rates you have during a workout as well as during more idle times. Next, I want to show you a really cool camera remote feature that is new on the AirPods Pro 3s, because you can actually use your AirPods as a camera remote. So you've got your phone set off somewhere further away, you can use your AirPods to snap the photo. So first you do need to enable this in settings. So to do this, we're going to go into settings, then tap onto your AirPods once again, and then we're going to scroll down right here to where we find camera control, and then under that tap onto camera remote, and then you can either activate by pressing once or by pressing and holding. I like press once, so let me show you how this looks. Let's launch the camera app here, and let's switch over to the selfie mode on this excellent selfie camera here on the new iPhone 17 Pros in particular. And check this out. So I'm going to go and take a picture. If I press on the button here, you'll see we have a 3-second countdown. And there we go. It's then going to take the picture, more specifically a 10 burst photo here, and that will allow you to choose exactly which picture it is that you want. Now, I also like that it does give you that 3-second countdown to press the button, remove the AirPod so that you don't have that AirPod within your shot. I think that looks a little bit better than having your AirPod hanging out of your ear. But this here is great for group shots, and again, when you have your camera further away and your AirPods close by. On the subject of the camera, did you know you can now also, for the first time, record video using the microphone that is built into your AirPods? Now, this here is especially important for content creators, as the microphone that's in your AirPods is obviously going to be closer to your mouth than that of your phone, particularly if you're filming yourself, and that means you're likely going to get much better audio quality, particularly outdoors, from your AirPods. So you can actually change the output, or rather the input of your microphone settings on your iPhone for the first time, and now set them to your AirPods. So to do this, we are going to jump into settings, and this time we're going to scroll down to where we find sound and haptics, and in here we tap onto input, and then we can change it from your iPhone microphone to your AirPods Pro 3. So you can have it set automatically, or you can also hard select it here to make sure it always goes to your AirPods. So this way, when you are going to be recording video on your iPhone, it'll be using the microphone from your AirPods, giving you much better audio quality. By the way, you can also change your input within the camera app. So you can see I've got my camera app open here. I can swipe down to the control center, then tap onto controls. And in here too, I can go ahead and choose the system or the audio input and change that manually from here as well to the AirPods if I like, to make sure we're using that microphone to record the video. Okay, so you know how early we looked at the hearing widget, this widget right here? There is kind of an interesting, kind of sneaky feature that comes with this widget too that I do want to show you, and this does enable you to essentially listen in secret. So let's go ahead and show you how this works. If I tap into this here, I can tap onto live listen, and right now I've got my AirPod in, and what I can hear is the audio that is recorded, or rather picked up by my phone. So in theory, I can have my phone in one room and I can be in the other room with my AirPod, essentially listening to whatever my phone records. Now, I'm sure there's a good reason to use this, but there are also not so good reasons to use this. So I do say use this feature wisely, and use it, of course, only with good intent and purpose. But this is an interesting feature that I did want to highlight, allowing you to essentially listen in secret. Now, something that I really like and I think is underrated on the AirPods is it actually has a built-in hidden soothing sounds menu. So this is particularly great. You can have it sound like a rain or like a fire or even a bright or dark noise. And this is great if, say, you are trying to sleep. Maybe you're on a long road trip or on a flight or something, and you just want something very simple to just tune out to. Well, let me show you where to find this. We're going to go into settings here, and then from there, we're going to scroll to where we find accessibility. And then in here, we're going to tap onto audio visual. Right here, tap onto audio visual, and then we're going to tap onto background sounds, and we can go ahead and turn this on. And right now, you can't hear it, but right now I'm hearing some really nice soothing rain sounds. I can go and adjust the volume. You can see I can change it to a huge range of noises here, including fire. Fire is a really nice one. It gives me kind of Christmassy vibes. You also have things like bright noise and dark noise. This is great if, say, you do sleep with AirPods on. I know some people do. I've actually got a great feature for that later. But also if you just want to relax and just tune out and maybe sleep during a long trip. So this here is great, and we can go ahead and turn that on or off here within the accessibility settings. Speaking of the accessibility settings, I also have a really important safety feature that I definitely encourage you turn on, especially on the new AirPods Pro 3, since they have such excellent active noise cancellation. This here is a really important feature, and that is called sound recognition. So to do this, we're going to jump into settings, then tap onto accessibility, and then we're going to scroll down here to where we find sound recognition. There it is, sound and name recognition. And in here, we turn on sound recognition. And then we can go ahead and choose what kind of sounds we like to add. So we can tap onto sounds here, and you can see we have things like fire, siren, smoke. You can even add a custom sound as well, or say have a say you have a dog that barks. So what this is essentially going to do is, let's say you have both AirPods in and you're listening to music, you don't really hear what's going on around you. Well, this way, if a siren is heard, you will get a notification on your phone to let you know that a siren has been activated. You can see it's even possible to set it for more serious things like your fire. Let's say there's a fire in the kitchen or something, you'd be able to hear it, or say your fire alarm goes off, you can hear that. Even simpler things like your doorbell, right, to not miss a delivery, or say when your dog is barking. Again, because of how good the active noise cancellation is on these AirPods, if you have both in there, you have your music on, you really are in your own little world, and it can be hard to hear things around you. So for those purposes, I think this here is a key safety feature, especially again for things like alarms and fires. You just always want to be somewhat aware of your surroundings, and this here can definitely help. So let's say if I want to turn this on for fire, I go ahead and turn this on. And as you can see, we will have to allow that notification. And this way, this has now been turned on under sounds, where if a fire is detected, or rather the sound of a fire is detected, I'll be able to get a notification on my phone to let me know I am warned. And now this here is for those who like to sleep with their AirPods on. This is something that personally I really can't do, but I know that some people do. I know I've got some friends who do. So for you, this here will be a useful feature. If we tap into settings, then go into your AirPods, here we have a new setting where if we scroll down, we have the ability here to turn off the automatic pausing of your music and eventually your AirPods turning off when it detects you have fallen asleep. So we can go ahead and turn on this setting here, pause media when falling asleep. This way, when you do fall asleep, your music will stop and eventually your AirPods will turn off. This will of course save you battery on your AirPods, and I can imagine will likely be good for your sleep too. Speaking of things that are good for your sleep, or more specifically your partner's sleep, let's say late at night you plug in your AirPods to charge and they normally make a noise from the charge case. This is something that personally I don't like, as I find it to be quite disruptive. I know when I'm charging my AirPods, I don't need a sound to confirm it. So what you can do is under here in your AirPods settings, we do have the option to enable or disable charge case sound. If we go and turn that off, that will also turn off the charge case sounds. And just above that, I want to show you a really cool new head tracking control. And this was recently introduced with the AirPods 4s, but of course is also available on the AirPods Pro 3s. And if we go back into settings, then tap on AirPods, and we head over to head gestures, we can go ahead and turn this on. Now, I found this to actually work really well. So let's say you have one or either AirPods in your ears, you get a phone call, you can actually nod by looking up and down briefly to then accept that call, or dismiss it by turning your head left to right, kind of a no gesture, to then block that call. And I've actually found this to work really well. So let me go ahead and show you how this works. If I tap onto try gestures, and then if we go ahead and test it here, we tap on continue, I can quickly nod my head up and down, and there we go. Have that activate, left to right. There we go, and that has been activated too. Now what I find is, to be particularly useful is you don't have to dramatically move your head up and down, particularly when you're in public, right? You might want to keep it subtle, and this feature thankfully does work really well, and it just can be a subtle little nod without having to fully, swing your head around to answer that call. Next, I want to show you a really neat mode that is built into your AirPods Pro 3s, and that is called Ambient Volume Mode. So if we tap into settings and tap onto your AirPods, we're going to scroll down here to where we find personalized volume. And what we're going to do is turn that on. Now, what that's essentially going to do is it's going to adjust the volume of your media to the volume of your surroundings. So for example, let's say you're at a noisy train station, it will automatically turn the volume up, but then when it detects that you're at home, it will then turn that volume down. This here, I found it to work really quite well. It's very smooth as well with adjusting the volume, and it's just a great way to make sure your audio stays legible and you can hear it without also being too loud or too quiet. And now let's talk about pairing. So unlike all the previous AirPods Pros, there is no longer a button on the back. So how do you pair to non-Apple devices? Of course, with your iPhone, you simply open the case and then it will show up on your phone, as you can see. But on other non-Apple devices, so for example, your Android phone or maybe even a Windows PC, you need to manually pair this. Well, how do you do this? Well, without that button, it's actually very simple. So to do this, it's actually quite simple. What you want to do is open up your AirPods case with both AirPods inside, and right where you see the light, you want to double tap. tap. And as you can see, the green light will then turn white, and we are now in pairing mode, where if we go over to our non-Apple device, we should be able to find it in our Bluetooth devices to then connect to it that way. And then if you want to fully reset your AirPods, this here can be useful if, say, you are experiencing some issues, or maybe you're trying to pair to a different device and it's not working, or you just want to reset your settings. What you can do is open your AirPods like this, and instead of double tapping once like we did earlier, we're going to double tap 3 times. So you want to go tap, 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 tap. Not going to do it. I don't want to reset my AirPods right now, but that is how you do it. That's then going to fully reset them, factory reset them, and allow you to set them up as if they were new. All right, now I want to show you some really great features that will help you never lose your AirPods. We touched on earlier how expensive these are, and I know friends that go through multiple pairs per year, which I think is ridiculous, as it really isn't necessary, as Apple has some really great built-in tracking features with the AirPods Pro 3. There's some new ones specifically to the Pro 3, thanks to now having the new N2 chip. So first of all, your AirPods Pro 3s can be tracked in the Find My app. But first, there is a setting that you want to make sure is turned on to enable this. So to check this, we're going to go into Settings, then we're going to tap onto your AirPods, and then we're going to scroll down here to where we Find My Network, right there. Then you want to make sure that there is turned on. You have a shortcut here to show you how they look within your Find My app, but I'm also going to show you how to do this manually. What you want to do is open up the Find My app, so you can just search for it. This application will come pre-installed on your iPhone. Then we're going to tap onto the application here, and from there we're going to tap onto devices, and here on your list of devices you should be able to find your AirPods Pro 3s, and then tapping into it, first of all, above here, I will have to blur this, but here is a map which will show you where exactly your AirPods are. And then from here we also have the option to go ahead and play a sound. Let me show you what that sounds like. That is actually surprisingly loud, definitely louder than on previous AirPods, as these do have a speaker built in. And what we can also do, take this one step further, is tap on precision finding. So we tap onto Find Nearby. Check this out. I can go ahead and pick up the AirPods, move them away, and check out how accurately it's able to detect the distance and how far away they are from my phone. So I bring them out a little bit further. You can see there's 3 foot, 4 foot. Bring them back in to show you exactly where they are. And again, here we have a shortcut to show you where to play the sound. So this is really, really great. No matter where you lose your AirPods, you should be able to find them this way. And now next, I want to show you a feature that is going to help you notify or get notified if, say, you leave your AirPods behind. So within the same menu, within the Find My app, what we can do is scroll down here to where we find notifications, and then we can go ahead and tap onto Notify When Left Behind. So we tap onto this here, we can turn this on, and in this case, I'm going to get a notification on my iPhone letting me know that I've left behind my AirPods Pro 3s, so I can go back and get them. Now, one crucial thing I recommend you do is to add some exceptions. So you don't want to be notified, let's say, when you leave your AirPods at home, right? Because that's fine. So in this case, we can add exceptions like your home. I've added my home. You can add, for example, your office, but basically anywhere but those locations, like say on a bus, in a taxi, at a cafe, restaurant, whatever it is, you'll be notified to let you know that you've left your AirPods behind. So you can then go ahead and get them. If you don't know exactly where they are, you can track them using precision finding like we just looked at. And then lastly, to do with finding your AirPods, we have one additional new feature that we can add, and that is called Lost Accessory. So if we go ahead and tap into this, we have the option to add contact information specifically to our AirPods Pro 3s. This way that when they are found by someone and they try to connect to them, they will get a pop-up on their phone showing either your contact details, like your name, your email, or your phone number, so that they can reach out to you and then hopefully return them. Now, whether you use this will depend on your perspective on privacy. Of course, you are sharing some personal details. Personally, I do have my contact number there just in case, and hopefully a good Samaritan finds them so that the AirPods can be returned to me. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Those are the first 20 things to do on your brand new AirPods Pro 3s. I hope you've learned something from this video. If you have, be sure to leave a like, and also let me know if you have any questions at all. If you haven't seen it yet, I've also done similar first things to do videos, both for the iPhone as well as the Apple Watch, which I'll leave linked on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.